So for my only breakdown of UFC Fight Night, Edgar Munhoz, one I feel the most confident about on the card, and I feel like I'm really in the minority, and that is the 12-4 Austin Hubbard versus the 9-2 Joe Solecki. And right now, Austin Hubbard is sitting at minus 107. He opened at minus 120, went all the way to plus 125. I got him at plus 115. Now, again, it's basically a pick 'em. He's at minus 107. I think, like I said, I'm in the minority on this one. A lot of people think Joe Solecki is just the second coming grappling. He's got 6 first-round submission victories, including his Contender Series win 2 fights ago against, at the time, 9-2 James Wallace. But he really has not faced any tough competition. It's been a lot of local guys, bad records, not a lot of fights on their records, and he's been tearing through them. He does have a decision loss to a 2-0 guy back in 2017. That's another thing about him that I do like. He's been very, very active. He's had 6 fights since the beginning of 2018. This is going to be his 7th, so he's definitely going to be in shape. But when you're telling me his most notable win is against Matt Wiman, who before Matt Wiman has not won in the UFC, has not won period since 2014, and has only had 2 fights since then. And the other one was a TKO loss to Luis Pena. So I don't consider that a good win. Joe Solecki did dominate him. I believe one judge had 3-10-8 rounds. He might have won 30-24, just a grappling, in this case, clinic. But I don't think he's going to be able to do that to Austin Hubbard. Austin Hubbard has fought 2 absolute specialists at the 155 weight class. When you talk in terms of grappling, he fought and lost a decision to Mark Madsen, a silver Greco-Roman Olympic medalist. And then he, as you can see behind me, he fought Davey Hamish, the ADCC 2017 or 2015 gold medalist. And against both those guys, you'll see he showed really good grappling defense. His grappling is good. He's at Elevation Fight Team. He trains with Neil Magny. Neil Magny would fuck Joe Solecki up, I think. Joe Solecki's not going to be able to show Austin Hubbard anything he hasn't seen before. Not to mention, even in the Contender Series fight, Michael Bisping pointed out a couple times when Joe Solecki had the back of his opponent, he made some technical mistakes that some would even consider amateurish. He crossed his ankles like when he had his back, which is a big no-no. And I think he's got aggressive, go for the finish grappling that will be effective against really inexperienced guys. But once you get to a true professional like Austin Hubbard, I think it's not going to work. Austin Hubbard's grappling is not that bad, but he's going to want to kickbox you. He uses a lot of kicks. He switches stances. He never keeps his head straight. I honestly think he's going to put on a clinic, pick Joe Solecki apart, uses wrestling as defense, not be taken down, and I just wonder if it'll be a decision or he'll be able to get the knockout. I took him straight up 2 units plus 115, and then I put a half unit on him on Austin Hubbard to win in the 3rd round at plus 1700, and I really love that bet. You can see how he kind of dismantled, how Austin dismantled another guy who was just a huge prospect in Max Rothkopf. He was the guy who refused to get off his stool at the end of the 3rd round in that Hubbard fight. But that guy had 5 first-round submissions himself in those fights. And Austin he showed really good defensive grappling, and like I said, picked him apart on the feet and really broke him. And I think Joe Solecki is going to be, it's a new level of competition for Joe Solecki, and I think he and a lot of people are in a rude awakening. For some reason, Austin Hubbard just cannot get the credit. He trains with a great team. He's got well-rounded skills. He's had 2 really tough matchups that he's lost in the UFC, but I don't think those should be held against him. He fared pretty well for being a newcomer in the UFC against those 2. And I think Austin Hubbard's good. I don't even know if he's top 15 because 155 is so stacked, but he's a legitimate UFC fighter, and I think he's going to work Joe Solecki.